There are many universal tartans which feature purple as the dominant color. Why is it you don't see purple in a lot of clan tartans?
That's a great question.
It is a great question. It was such a great question that I called in my expert witness, which in this case was my wife, who is probably not watching right now because she's driving to Lancaster. But my wife is a natural dyer, and I immediately, when this question came across and Rocky shared it with me, I was like, what do you think about this? And so I texted my wife, and she looked up one of her books, which is literally like weaving techniques of ancient Scotland. And what she said, this is from technical information, was that basically purple dyes in Scotland, and this probably holds from a lot of Northern Europe too, were made with lichens and crottle, which is some kind of an herb, I guess. That was how you got pinks and purples. They would tend to start out bright and the color you want, but they would fade over time with light exposure. So in other words, they weren't really color fast. So they become duller and duller, so they weren't as desirable for that reason. Color fastness is something that was a huge innovation as a result of chemical dyes that came about in the 19th century too. She mentioned to me that basically one of the very first artificial dyes was mauve, the color mauve, because you could get purples and stuff out of combinations of blue and red, but traditionally they wound up looking a little splotchy, and they were very pH sensitive. In other words, they're highly sensitive to acid fluctuations, so they were technically harder to do, and they didn't last as long. So that may be one reason why tartan tended to avoid that as a choice. It could be that there's a purple tartan out there that hasn't been found in somebody's attic yet, but the fact that we haven't seen that many of them probably means that there was a good reason why they didn't choose. That's the technical information we have. Was there a personal reason, like you didn't do purple because it was not appropriate unless you're royalty? That could be a reason too. We'd have to look into it further for the social aspect of the answer. That's a technical answer. Maybe that helps. Or
if there was purple used, maybe it just faded reasonably quickly, and that's why we don't have any artifacts of it today, because it's already, a light bluish kind of color.
Yeah, now dye historians, I think, are advanced enough with their techniques. They can tell when something started out as a different color and faded over time. But yeah, would you want purple? It raises the question also, what other colors would fade? Were there any other colors that were not popular? And we know that blues and greens were very popular. Red, how common was red back in the day?
Pretty common. There's a lot of old tartans with red in it.
Okay, so presumably that was a more color fast dye.